Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
99% of the people in this world want to be great. Would you agree with that? Yeah, they're called wannabes. 1% work to be great. Drop the mic on that.
Yeah, I didn't sign any mustard bottles or golf balls. Maybe wish I had a golf ball that night, you know what I mean? But I'm only kidding. All right.
There on field, the pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beaches is singing "Fight, Balls, Fight." The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
And I am Gabriel.
The morning show returns, man. It's been a minute. We got to find we had this chemistry, we had this rhythm, and now we got to find it. It feels like it's been lost.
Yeah, it feels like it's been an eternity since last Thursday, since the last time we did one of these. It was a much different feeling then Thursday morning than now. We can sort of jump into that and evaluate what's happened since then. But yeah, it feels like it's been 6 months since the last time we did a morning show. You said you weren't going to talk about it. Now I'm going to make you talk about it because it's on my mind too. It's on my mind as we're playing the intros. We're watching the chat kind of fill in here. We got 120 people watching live right now. Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up. We would appreciate it. The feeling is different. The feeling in this fan base is different. The heartbeat of this fan base is different. Where is this fan base? And, we got 120 people watching. That's great. I'd love to sit here and talk Tennessee football. And the people that are here are the people that are just like us. They are obsessed with Tennessee football. I feel like this fan base has forgotten where we were and this journey that we've been on. And just because Tennessee lost to Georgia does not mean the season is over. And here we sit. We were hitting, 400 or 500 people watching live on the morning shows. UT Martin, we had people watching the morning show. Now all of a sudden you drop a game to Georgia. You got 3 very winnable games coming up and a shot at the college football playoff. Where's the fan base at? Gabe, it feels like some people have kind of packed up and went home. Yeah, there's some interesting negativity there, and whether you want to say it's bandwagon people that jumped on the bandwagon the first 8 weeks, or people or core people that just got used to winning in 8 weeks after 15 years of losing, and decided to give up. But there is a lot of negativity coming from this loss, and maybe it's the way we lost, maybe it's the way we talked smack beforehand, maybe it's just the way that the team played. I don't know. I don't know what was extra demoralizing about Tennessee's loss to Georgia, and especially something I've noticed is that we as a fan base are dwelling on it, and I mean, here we are on Friday morning talking about it, but we as a fan base are dwelling on this loss to Georgia. And this team's sort of the way they go about things is just moving on to the next week. And as a fan base, it is a lot easier to do that when you win. But we knew going into this game that if we lost, we were still in great shape. No, we're not going to the SEC championship, but we're probably going to make it to the college football playoff. We knew that going into the game, and we knew that afterwards. I don't know if it was the way the game was played or what, but since then we've seen a lot of negativity. We've seen a shift, and people dwelling on that loss and going back and trying to reason with how things happened. So I'm not sure. We can dive into that and sort of explore what those reasons might be, but there's just, I think there are some people that are maybe just unrealistic about what this season. I mean, guys, 11. Assuming we win the next 3, which we will, by the way, 11-1 in year 2. We just have to we have to step back and reevaluate where we came from and what our perspectives were at the beginning of this season.
I think some of it might be the casual fan. I think it might be the casual fan that it reminds me of the Ole Miss game from last year, right? Mm-hmm. Going into that week, there was a lot of buzz and energy, and it felt like Tennessee football the way it's supposed to be. And then Tennessee lost that game, and the fan base just plummeted. And, I say it all the time. Like, I know some of it's when we go live or what the content is, what the subject matter of a video is that kind of drives the views. But overall, I can kind of gauge that, but you can also see the heartbeat of this fan base based on how many people are coming in for live streams. We know what these morning shows do compared to an evening show, but maybe it is just the casual fan that was excited and fired up because Tennessee was undefeated, #1 in the country. They lose to Georgia, and it reminds me of my old man. Like, my old man is not a Tennessee football fan at all. He's clueless when it comes to sports, and God bless his heart. It's so funny to listen to him try to tell me about Tennessee football as if I have no idea what I'm talking about. And right. His words will be, same old Tennessee, can't get it done. And it's like, you don't even understand where this team came from. Let me run down the chat. We didn't do that to start the show. Let's see who's hanging out. John Hill's in the house. What is up, John? Who else we got? Seth the 4 was here, says won't be able to attend the show, but a quick shout out to all my fellow veterans out there. Happy Veterans Day, all you salty folks out there. Yeah, happy Veterans Day. Thank you, man. Big fan of our military. Thank you to all those who have served. Noah James is in the house. What's up, Noah? We got Snack Pack here saying brighten up my day with a morning stream, but we'll do the best we can. Matt Dummett's in the house as well. UT Knox fan is here. Benjamin Tiller is here. Robbie S. is in the house. What's up, Robbie? Got a couple of super chats here real quick. John Hill for 10. We can officially start the show. John says, let's win by a hundo. Style points are needed. Let's go Big Orange. I've been quoting Remember the Titans all week. Have you ever seen Remember the Titans? You're probably too young. It's like watching a black and white movie for me, Gabe. Come on. You've never seen Remember the Titans? That's your homework. Your homework is to go watch Remember the Titans. It's one of the greatest football movies of all time.
I believe I read the book when I was like a kid. I never watched the movie, but I did read the book.
It is so good. It is so good. And there's a moment in that where Coach Yost looks over at Herman Boone and says, leave no doubt, run it up. And that's what Tennessee needs to do these next 3 weeks. Jody Wooten for 5. Thank you for super chat. I wonder if Walter Nolan regrets his decision to choose the dumpster fire that is A&M football. I don't know, man. I really, truly think. I think money played a factor in it, obviously, but also think that Walter Nolan is scared to play for Rodney Garner. That's just my belief. Brad Burnett, what is going on with Brad? Like, Brad is the cheapest guy on the face of the earth, dropping a 50 spot on a Friday morning. We got to play the clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Brad for $50. That is not cheap. Says GBO Hype Train. See y'all tomorrow. So did Brad just drop in, throw a 50 on the table, and then just say peace out, I'm gone, and leave? Is that what Brad just did?
Looks like it to me.
I don't even see Brad in the chat. Let me get caught back up here with the live chat. Let's see what's going on here. Let me go back up. I know another super chat came in. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. I really don't see him in the chat. That's unusual. That is unusual. Mountain Doom. I love that name. Thank you for the $20. Happy Veterans Day and happy 247th birthday, Marine Semper Fi. Tennessee wins 52-17. Thank you, Mountain Doom, for the super chat, and shout out to all the veterans once again. We need to do some type of fundraiser. We did a fundraiser for the military a couple of years ago, and I keep saying I'm going to do something like that, and then I don't do something like that, so we need to do something. But thank you, Mountain Doom, for the super chat. I appreciate that. We got almost 200 people. Guys, smash the thumbs up, share it out, share this thing out, let people know we're live. I know it was kind of short notice. That could play a factor in this thing as well. Look, a listener sent me an article. It's from A to Z Sports. Had an opportunity to go over and do the A to Z Sports podcast leading up to the Georgia game, so that was cool. But this is an ESPN analyst that has a different take on the Tennessee-Georgia game. And I know I've said earlier in the week that I'm putting a big bow on Georgia and putting them to bed and moving on. But this is a different take, and somebody sent me this, and I want to take a listen to it and let Gabe listen to it, and we'll break it down and see what you guys think.
Is it as simple as Tennessee just isn't as talented as they need to be in order to beat Georgia? Because with the playoff chances that Tennessee still has, we've already started thinking about a potential rematch between those two teams. Could the Vols on their day still get Georgia if they're able to play their best?
I think they can. I mean, here's the thing: it's not about the talent. I think the talent is there, and the defense was coming along. I mean, early on the year, like, oh my gosh, this defense can't hang, but the defense also had to catch up, like, endurance-wise, because of the pace with which Tennessee moves. I think it was a case of nerves more than anything else. Going into Sanford Stadium, that crowd, knowing that you had two quote-unquote number ones, even though I recognize Tennessee's number one over Georgia's, but I think that was the biggest thing, was that you just saw one team that hadn't been there before, and you saw another team that had been there, done that. Mm-hmm. And so there was more calm on their side, able to execute. Now, I will say this: the DBs for Georgia, I hadn't seen that this year. The way that they played, they stepped up. They stepped up to the mic, because my biggest thing when I was covering Tennessee and doing the SEC was, who has three defensive backs who can match up with what Josh Heupel does, right?
Right.
Because Josh Heupel forces you to declare yourself by the way he takes those splits.
We're not going to listen to all that. I just want to get the thought process out there. That, what do you think, Gabe? Was the moment too big for Tennessee? Was it nerves? Were they not ready for that atmosphere? And not even necessarily going on the road to play Georgia. That's part of it. That crowd made a difference. There's no doubt about that. But just the moment, with everything on the line, was that moment too big for this football team?
Well, it's not that I think that moment was necessarily too big for this football team as a general term, because I don't think if you play that game 5 times, Tennessee comes out as tight as they did. However, it is pretty apparent. I mean, I noticed within the first, probably 5 minutes that we were playing pretty tight offensively. We just were. We were tight. We weren't loose. We weren't playing ball. We were just sitting back there and being very tense. Just kind of trying to rigidly follow the play call and not making things happen. So I don't know that necessarily the moment was too big for the team, but they definitely didn't come out and execute. They were just a little shocked, I think. I mean, you talk about the pre-snap penalties. I don't know that that's necessarily because the moment's too big. I think they just came out and they weren't mentally prepared. So, I mean, that's I think all there is to say about that. I mean, whether or not the moment's too big, well, we'll find out again. We'll probably rematch with Georgia at some point, but down there in Athens, I think that the environment was incredible. I think the fans did their part. And I just think that UT, this team was not, that they weren't loose. They weren't mentally prepared. I think that, Georgia, Athens did to Tennessee what Knoxville did to Alabama a little bit. I think they did. I mean, Nick Saban was talking about just uncharacteristic tightness in his team before the game. Obviously, nobody mentioned that this week for Tennessee's team, but I mean, it was pretty obvious to tell that there was a little tightness in the team pretty early on in this game. So,
but you got to give credit to Georgia, and he started to do that. They're talking about the defensive backs. What team can shut down those 3 wide receivers from Tennessee? And you have to give Georgia credit for doing that, because they did shut down Tennessee's defensive backs, but Hendon Hooker did look a little tight. We talked about this right before we went live, talking about him standing in the pocket, holding on to the football too long, taking those sacks. It seems to be either he gets the ball out quick and it's on time and it's on point, or he escapes pressure, and then sometimes, man, he just stands back there forever. Got to be able to throw the football away in those situations. If you can't get out of the pocket and nobody's open, you got to be able to throw the football away, and he struggled with that. But he didn't. You keep saying the word tight, and he did look tight. He looked off. And I know when the rain came in the second half, he sailed some passes, but that is what it is. But he also had a couple of guys running free early in the game. And it wasn't like the Alabama game running free, but they had a step. And, couple of passes drop in there. That's a couple of touchdowns. What's this game look like? What happens right before the half there when Georgia made the interception because they bullied Cedric Tillman, which doesn't happen very often? What happens if Tennessee connects there and they close the gap a little bit? Tennessee could have scored at the end of the game. They had the ball with 4 minutes to go, and they go down and score. You're talking about an onside kick, 1-possession type of football game. And I know Georgia fans have been in this comment section all week long. I think they're finally starting to find something to do with their lives and moving on. But a couple of plays here and there, that's a different ball game. And I'm not saying Tennessee wins it. I'm just saying it's a different look.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a few plays that could be made that change the course of the game. We saw that in 2015, 2016, where we just miss a few plays and we end up losing the game because of it. It was the whole thing after 2015. 25 points was the total amount of points that we lost by the entire season. So, it's about those few plays. The thing is so far this season, we haven't really had to hit those plays to win the game, other than maybe in the Alabama game, which we did, but we were making plays all day. If a team allows you 4 big plays in a game, or if a team allows you 4 breakout plays, you have to hit those. Mm-hmm. You have to hit those. If you don't hit those, you're not getting anything else. You talk about Georgia's DBs, and their game plan was kind of crazy, because their game plan was, stay on him as much as you can, but if you think he's getting past you, hold the crap out of him. They would rather do that than allow those big plays. And hey, I think that's the right call. I mean, why would you not take a 10-yard holding penalty over a touchdown, a 50-yard touchdown? So, I think that Georgia's game plan to stop Tennessee's offense was pretty good. And the rain in the second half, but Hendon and Alex Golish both said that they did not think Hendon was tight. Wrong. They said that they didn't think he stood back there too long.
Oh my gosh!
Which I think if you, and I understand you're not going to stand there and say, I lost us the game. Hendon didn't lose that game, but you would be pretty you would be kind of blind to not watch that football game and say, there were a few times where I took a sack because I kept my eyes downfield too long instead of because you watch Bryce Young, right? Bryce Young will make his reads. If it's not there, he's going to flush out and try and make a play, let his wide receivers make a play. If that doesn't work, if he flushes out and he's got pressure in his face, he's either going to run or he's going to throw it away, right? That's the problem. This is my main problem. And yes, we can move on to Missouri here in just a second. I haven't said my piece about the Georgia game yet this week, because we didn't have a morning stream on Monday, so we can wrap it up here in a bit. But My main problem is that Hendon just wouldn't throw the ball away. You don't have to do anything else but throw the ball away. You don't have to make some insane play. I would prefer you do that maybe because you're one of the best players in college football. Just throw the ball away. That's it. Flush out, throw the ball away. He didn't do that. He just held on. It was like watching Jarrett Garantano out there at times, And I said that.
Oh God, they're gonna tag you up on Twitter now. You opened up a hornet's nest with that comparison.
That's what it looked like. I'm not comparing Hendon as a player to Jarrett.
That's the way I heard it.
But that's
Gabe said Hendon Hooker is
Hendon
exactly
Hooker
like Jarrett
is
Garantano.
The new Jarrett Garantano. No,
Clip that.
The way he played at times looked like the way Jarrett Garantano played. Just standing back there, holding on the ball, not throwing it away. And that it sucked. It wasn't very fun to watch, obviously. But anyway, at the end of the day, I think we can all agree. Hendon was tight. Something just wasn't quite right. Tennessee just didn't play their ball. Bottom line, they didn't play their ball. Georgia did. If Tennessee was able to play their ball, it would have been a much more interesting, a much closer game. But Georgia played their ball. Tennessee didn't.
Let me hit the super chat real quick, kind of saying the same thing. And this really does sum it up. Drew Shorter for 5, thank you for the super chat. Georgia played their best game. Tennessee played their worst. It is what it is. Got to reset, take care of Missouri. Still a ton to play for. And that's what I'm excited about. And we've already talked about the college football playoffs, and we are going to move on to Missouri here in just a second. But I'm excited about the college football playoffs. I really see if things play out the way that I think they will, I believe Tennessee ends up around number 3. Georgia's going to stay at number 1. They're going to have a rematch in the national championship game. I want Ohio State in round 1, and I want freaking Georgia for the national championship with a rematch. Everybody talks about how hard it is to beat a team twice. Now we're going to be on the good side of that, and Hendon Hooker seems pissed off. We were talking about that before we went live, too. You never see that guy run his mouth on social media, and he's in the comment sections on Instagram basically saying, you're going to see us again. You better get ready for it. So
yep.
I like that alpha mentality from Hendon Hooker. Ryan Smith for 2. It's Friday. Let's go. Go Dogs, buy Coke on me. Thank you, Ryan, for being one of the good Georgia fans, as good as they could possibly be. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it, buddy.
Yep.
Let's see.
My plan was fully to not even say a word about Georgia, but we opened the can of worms. I never got to say my piece. So that's my piece about Georgia. We don't have to talk about it anymore. I called out the fan base for dwelling on it, and here we are talking about it on Friday morning. We have a football game to play early tomorrow. We can move on. That's it. Y'all don't need to get mad at me.
We'll move into it. We're going to listen to Josh Heupel's press conference yesterday as he breaks down this Missouri game. We'll pause it, make comments as we go. We do have over 200 people watching live. Appreciate you guys joining us on this Friday morning. Make sure you do smash the thumbs up. Share this thing out. Hit share. Everybody, all 220 of you, hit share right now. And when you hit share, it's going to pop up Twitter, Facebook. All you got to do is click the button, and it's going to blast out the link on Twitter, Facebook, somewhere. Let people know we're live. Let's grow this live chat. Just a reminder, schedule coming up this week. Tomorrow, we are going to go live an hour before kickoff for the Tailgate Show, fan call-in show. Make that up to you guys so you can come on and talk a little Tennessee football before the game. Then we'll be live immediately after Sunday basketball season. We are going to go live right after the Colorado game. I know we said we were going to do 7 p.m., but if the team plays on a Sunday, why not go live right after the game? So we are going to go live immediately after the Tennessee-Colorado basketball game. So that'll probably be around 4 o'clock. I was thinking something crazy. I could just go ahead and do the NCAA stream anyway. We could do the basketball post-game show around 4 o'clock. I'll break for about an hour, hour and a half, come back at 6:30, play some NCAA and talk Tennessee football. If that's what you guys want to do, let me know, and I will stream all freaking day on Sunday. That's what we'll do. So that's the schedule coming up for the weekend. Let's hear from Josh Heupel on Missouri week.
Josh, just what have you seen from Missouri's defensive front, and how critical is it that the offensive line for you guys gets back to playing like they were pre-Georgia?
Yeah, you can't do things that hurt yourself in this ball game for sure. The physicality, they play vertical on the line of scrimmage, loaded boxes on tape. We have to be physical. Our combinations got to be right. Our identifications got to be right. That's going to be absolutely critical in this football game. Tight ends got to do a great job of it as well. They're always a part of the run game when we're in 11 personnel sets, and then I think our running backs got to be extremely physical in this football game too. They're much improved on the defensive side of the football. You just look at them statistically. You look how the games have played out. The last 2/3 of the season, the video that you see on tape. It's a group, and I'm talking about their unit, that continues to get better and more comfortable in year one with a new defense coordinator.
I've really turned the chat against you. It's funny how I can make one joke and everybody immediately hates you for it. It's
I know.
like Gabe didn't compare Hendon Hooker to JG. It's okay. It's okay. We'll let it go. Let me hit these couple of super chats that I want to comment on the Missouri defense there, as Josh Heupel talked about it. Ron the Don for 10. Thank you for super chat. Georgia was the one L we could afford to take. I have pity on the rest. It's time to rally, romp, and stomp all the way to our 2022 Natty. Thank you, Ron the Don. Bionic Clay for 10. Good morning, Vol family. Let's get ready for the Missouri Tigers. Vols roll in this one, 52-17. I'll take it. Thank you, Bionic Clay.
17.
I'll take that. Thank you for the super chat, Bionic Clay. Let's talk a little bit about this Missouri defense because they are pretty good. They've only given up over 300 yards, just once, in the last 6 games, and that was Georgia. They're a weird football team, man. Like, when you look down their schedule, they play some good teams close, and they play some bad teams close. It is a mixed bag of what you're going to get from Missouri. But the defensive front, they lead the SEC in tackles for loss. They like to bring pressure. They got 23 sacks on the season. After seeing what pressure did to Hendon Hooker on Saturday, this Missouri defense is going to kind of try to do the same thing. I just don't think they have the talent. I think I said Wednesday night. I've said it multiple times in videos. Last year, Josh Heupel's football team, when they scored 17 or less, they came out and hung 60 the next week. That's what I'm expecting this week. I'm expecting domination.
Well, and people want to talk about the defense from Missouri. How it's better than last year. Oh, look, it's statistically like 4th in the SEC. I get that. But this isn't the same. I said the same thing for the Kentucky game. People are comparing last year's Tennessee to this year's Missouri. This is this year's Tennessee against this year's Missouri. People were talking about last year's Kentucky game, how close it was, saying, "Oh, it was close last year." This is not the same Tennessee team as last year. This is this year's Tennessee team. I don't care if Missouri's defense is a little bit better. I don't care if they're statistically 4th in the SEC. This is an evolved Tennessee team that's got something to prove now. They've got something to prove.
I think they're going to come out and play pissed off for sure. Wait, here's another super chat real quick. Drew Shorter for another 5. Here is 5 for Gabe to buy Band-Aids and Neosporin after his beat down for his previous take. Thank you, Drew, for the super chat. I'll mail that directly to Gabe. So he can buy those materials to get ready for next week's morning show. We got to get him bandaged and healed back up. Actually, we got to get him ready for it. He's been called up to the big leagues. For Saturday. So you'll get your Gabe fix for the post-game show after the Missouri game. Stepping in for Dauber. Dauber's going to be out of town, so Gabe's going to hang out. All right, let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
What about Missouri's offense? I know at times they've had some inconsistencies, but what do you see coming into this game and how they're playing on offense?
Yeah, I think they're getting better. Their quarterback's playing with more confidence. You got to do a great job with all the eye candy, the window dressing that they do, motions, and within their run game. If you don't have great eye discipline, all of a sudden you'll be out of a gap, and they have an opportunity to create a really big play. So for us, again, I was just talking about us on the offensive side, the line of scrimmage is going to be really important in this football game. They got really good skill players out on the perimeter too. They're athletic, they got speed, they're dynamic with the ball in their hands. You got to do a great job of tackling in space, and if you can get them in the 3rd down, then we got to do a great job of applying pressure to the quarterback.
Josh, Dan.
Their quarterback is not very good. I love how Heupel always coach speak, right? It's like, he's getting better. He has 6 touchdown passes. And this is what I've been talking about, like going on Locked On Vols that aired this morning. I said this. Jalen Hyatt had 1 less touchdown in the Alabama game than their receiving core has the entire season. Season. Jalen Hyatt did it in 1 game.
Yeah, their quarterback is – it's not like he can't play. He just doesn't play very well. It's not like he has a crazy amount of weapons. They have a couple of wide receivers that, could a couple of young guys that could actually grow into really good players on the wide receiver position. But you get pressure on him, which this Tennessee team. I don't know. I'm interested to see what people think as far as what they think Tennessee is going to do against Missouri's offense, whether we're going to bring pressure or lay back, because he can't. If we just lay back, he's not going to be able to beat us. But God, I would just love to see us put the pressure on him and just destroy him. I mean, just because their offensive line is not good. Just destroy him. I mean, they've allowed some ungodly number of sacks. What was it, 34? Was it 34 sacks on the season, I believe, that they've allowed? That is unreal. So if you put the pressure on them, man, they're not going anywhere.
That's why this matchup is horrible for Missouri. Horrible matchup because, yeah, the defense is their strength. They still give up. They give up, that's the funny story, right? It's their defense. I'm sick of hearing it, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Like, you float around the media and podcasts and listen to Tennessee sports radio. It's all about this Missouri defense. They're giving up 21 points a game, the exact same number that Tennessee gives up, but yet the storyline is Tennessee's defense sucks and Missouri's defense is a strength. And it's like, you can't tell that story when they give up the same amount. They give up the same amount per game. Adam Cook for 5, thank you for Super Chat. Motion, eye candy, and staying disciplined. Sounds like we're about to play wing tee offense. Let's roast them. Yeah, it's like typical Josh Heupel. His press conferences, it's like he could say that if they were playing Alabama, Georgia, whoever. Yeah. But, yeah, their quarterback's playing really good football of late. He's trying to get to double digits for touchdown passes before interceptions. We'll see if he's able to do it. All right, let's hear more from Josh Heupel. This is one of the things I wanted to get into coming up right here.
And he was able to endorse Spire last week. How much added value have they given all athletic programs on campus, but specifically football, and how vital is what they do, and how important is it fans really take kind of notice of those type of things?
Yeah, NIL is a huge part of the landscape now, and from the moment that the law changed, the rulings changed. You've heard me say how important it is, as a player, a former player, the opportunities that I would have been afforded. I think our players have handled it in a really positive way. Can't underestimate at all the importance that Spire has had in providing our players opportunities. It's life-changing for them, and it's a huge part of, the success as we continue down this road as a program. That's a huge part of it. I think, we're uniquely situated. The Power T, this fan base, the city that is Knoxville, the opportunities that can and are afforded to our players. To me, this is the number one destination when it comes to NIL opportunities. And you can see it, as we've grown as a program, the power and opportunities that have been provided with our current roster here and how they've had an opportunity to grow, their image. And Spire Sports, their ability to, help our players, what they've been able to do, but what they will continue to do. That's a huge part of the success, and they've done a phenomenal job.
This is big because, first of all, Danny White mentioned Spire Sports by name last week, and now you've got Josh Heupel following it up in a press conference and mentioning Spire Sports. And what this does is, number one, it lets the casual fan know, if you want to get involved in NIL, that Spire Sports Group is the way to do that, because there's a lot of confusion when it comes to NIL. People don't know how, what fans get involved in this? Like, we give our money? This is big for Danny White to do it first. Now Josh Heupel, conveniently timing, coming right in there behind him in a media appearance talking about it. And you can get involved. This is a perfect time to plug it. People fuss at me and say that I don't plug this enough, but we are an affiliate of Spire Sports Group. What does that mean? It means that little 10%, 90% of the money donated to Spire goes directly to the athletes. 10% goes to cost, and we get a little cut if you guys use our link. So if you want to get involved in the NIL game, there is a link in the description below. It is our link. That's how they know that you use our affiliate. Dakota is putting it there in the chat as well. When you go there, you click Join the Volunteer Club, and this is how you donate money directly to Spire Sports Group, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's not like a GoFundMe. You're not just donating money. You're getting something back. But again, right there it says sports student athletes, they get 90% of the money. When you go down and hit choose your membership level, you're going to get different opportunities, right? Rocky Top, that's $5 a month. You don't really get anything with that. You get a volunteer club decal, and you also get a newsletter. But then if you give a little bit more, $25 a month, you get an original content, a monthly autographed item raffle. Some of you guys have tweeted those out. I've seen Hendon Hooker autographs. I've seen Cedric Tillman autographs. I know they're doing a lot of stuff with Jalen Hyatt right now. You also get 10% off of merchandise. I'm going to go show you guys some of their merch because they've got good merch. But you can see it continues to go up, $100 a month. You get everything from the tier before, but then you get a quarterly autographed item. You go $200 a month, a custom video message, $500 a month. Now you're talking about private tailgates with Tennessee student athletes. Now, the Spire Sports Group also does a tailgate every week at the football games. And I know that Brad, who was in the chat earlier, Brad has been going to some of their tailgates and hanging out. I've seen some other friends of mine at their tailgates. James Clausen and those guys over at Spire Sports Group get it. They understand what it takes to win at an elite level. That's what they're focused on. Had many great conversations with him. Your money is going into good hands as far as what they're going to do with it in the world of recruiting and in the world of NIL. If you go to the shop, again, if you join, you get a discount here. They got some great merch. Let's see. Do they see? Yeah, this is my favorite shirt right here. Like, come on. I wish I had come up with this shirt instead of them. But the goat shirt, you just got a goat head with number 16. I mean, come on. That's a beautiful, beautiful shirt. But again, I wanted to share that, let you guys know, again, we're an affiliate. You can click the link in the description below or click the link that Dakota's got there in the chat. And they kick a little bit of money our way. And, you know, they talked about getting players on here. It never has happened. I try not to harass them because they're freaking busy. But look, I have no doubt if we flood that affiliate link, they're going to be like, okay, the guys over at Talkin VAWLS are where it's at. Let's kick some players their way. We'll see how it plays out. But again, just huge. Any thoughts, Gabe, on Josh Heupel mentioning NIL Spire Sports Group there?
Well, I think it's pretty awesome. I mean, you know, I've said throughout the season a couple times that the amazing thing about this university is, and what Josh Heupel said at the end there, NIL, Tennessee being the #1 NIL destination in the country, I truly believe it is. Because Tennessee was one of the first schools to say, all right, let's hop on this train in a responsible way. Let's get on this thing. Let's get a step ahead, because this is where college football is going. People are trying to deny it. People are trying to say, oh, well, we're just going to keep doing it the old way. Tennessee said, no, this is the direction the sport's going, like it or not. We're going to get a step ahead of it, and we're going to do things responsibly. This is what they've done, and you see it's already paying dividends. I mean, these players are already getting supported massively through Spire Sports Group. For Danny White, after the NCAA made actual regulations about it and actual rules, to hear Danny White, you know, mention it by name and support that, and then Josh Heupel, that is a huge step in the right direction. Again, like I really do believe that because of the way that this university and administration and team has approached NIL, it is the top NIL destination, because it's going to reach a point where it speaks for itself. You don't use NIL money to recruit. You don't use NIL money to bring recruits in. You use NIL money to support your current players. But do you know what? Recruits are going to see that. Recruits are going to look at Tennessee and they're going to say, dang, they have a really good NIL system up there. There's a lot of opportunities, as opposed to a team making promises saying, oh, we can get you this much. They're going to be able to look at Tennessee. They're going to be able to look at it from the outside in and be able to see how our players are getting supported and say, man, that looks like because like it or not, NIL from this moment forward is going to be a consideration for kids going to college. It just is. If I was an 18-year-old with scholarship offers to go to D1 schools and now I could make money, I'm gonna look at places where I want to go, but also places where I might be able to have some opportunities in the NIL world. They're going to be able to see that at Tennessee. They're going to be able to see the opportunities we have, the way this administration and coaching staff supports it and drives it, and that's going to be a big tool in recruiting. So y'all watch out for that, and absolutely, if y'all can and haven't yet, then go support Spire and go buy into what they're doing, because it's not just empty words saying that you can help in recruiting, you can help this team. It legitimately directly affects this team's the support for the student athletes and recruiting guys coming in, being able to see that it directly supports that. So
Dan Yoder for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Dan says, these videos, thumbs up. Appreciate that, Dan. Glad you enjoy what we do. Thank you for the $5 tip. Let's hear more from Josh Heupel as we are a day away. Oh, man, just a little over 24 hours away from kicking it off against Missouri. Let's just stay live until the game. You want to do that?
Yeah,
right.
Let's do it.
All right, let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
Josh, I know y'all have had fast starts in a lot of games the past couple of years, but it seems like in particular those noon games, y'all have gotten off to really good starts, and some teams don't necessarily get going great in earlier games. Is it the morning practices that help y'all? Is it something you're doing in the morning? What's gone into that?
I don't. I've been other places where you didn't practice in the morning in early kickoffs. 11 o'clock Central. You would be able to start fast too. Certainly practicing in the morning, it's a normal routine for our guys, kind of as far as the wake up and getting ready to go play. As much as anything, it's operating extremely efficient. And when we haven't played at our best, not all the time you play good teams that are going to make plays too, but a lot of it's self-induced. And so we got to limit the mistakes that we make and go out and play extremely aggressive. It starts really fast in this one. That's awesome. You got to keep your foot down on the pedal. If it doesn't, that's okay too. You got to reset and regroup and do a better job of it than we did a week ago.
That was
Josh, I think
that was a great answer from Josh on that, because rather than saying the early kick is the reason we start good, it's when we don't start good, it's not because it's not an early kickoff. This is the last thing, because he knows he's not gonna, I don't think he really believes that anyway. Like, I think he truly just believes it is, it's based on what you do and how you prepare. But you don't want people saying, "Oh, well, it's a 7 p.m. kickoff, so we better get ready for sloppy Tennessee." So there was a very good answer, very safe, very, very good answer there from him, saying, it's not necessarily because of the early kicks that were good, but it's us either way, including later in the late kicks. So
you could tell by the look on his face that he's annoyed by the question. It's
I know,
this
man.
is a
I love
stupid
that
question. Every time you can see him processing what they're saying, and you can watch his annoyance level go up and down, and then he always hits a home run with the answer. It's like, yeah, it's not about the time. It's about what we do. And that's what the rest of this season is, about what Tennessee does. Tennessee goes out and they be who they are. They go out, they play offense, they get aggressive on defense, they force turnovers. They're going to roll right through Missouri, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and we're going to be talking about a special year, man, a special year of 11-1. And let the chips fall where they may. If they don't get into the college football playoff, so be it. Like, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we want that. It would be huge. Number one, for this football team to have an opportunity, because I still truly believe they can go beat Georgia. They can. If they show up and they play and they compete, they can beat Georgia. Georgia's got the better football team. There's no doubt about that. But Tennessee can beat them the same way they beat Alabama. But if they don't make it to the college football playoff, let's celebrate a New Year's Six bowl and enjoy that destination, because regardless, no matter how you spin it, that's the funny thing about this week after the Georgia game, and all these people talking trash at Tennessee, and fine, maybe we deserve it, although I think it's comical. They come to this channel and yell at me, the one person who was telling everybody for weeks how good Georgia was. But it's like they use this platform because it's the biggest Tennessee platform on YouTube. Regardless, do you really think that you can take this season away from me? Do you really think that you can come in and say, you lost to Georgia, you suck? You think you can come in and say, well, Alabama's not as good as you thought, LSU's not as good, this and that? Do you think you can take this season away from me? Do you think for 1 second that you're taking my joy of an 11-1 season away? It ain't gonna happen. It is not going to happen. This has been a special, special year. I'm not going to forget the ride. What a heck of a ride it's been so far, and we still got 3 weeks to go. But you can't take that away. No amount of trash talk can take away how special this season's been.
And it's going to continue to be special. I forget who it was. I think it was Alex Golish, but somebody asked him something about playing 12 games. He's like, well, we're going to play more than 12 games. We're going to play more than how I forget what it was. I forget what the question was, but this staff is locked in, and they're still looking they're still looking ahead to that natty, to that college football playoff. So
unfinished business. That's what it is. They got unfinished business. Let me hit this super chat here real quick from Vols Dog. For 20, that ain't cheap. Enjoy the live shows and what y'all do here. Lifelong Vols fan, and y'all inspired us to help spread the word about the Vols and Vols Nation. Let's win out and go get our revenge in the Natty GBO. Thank you, Vols Dog. Very generous super chat. Appreciate that. Glad you enjoy what we do. Man, it's just for the fans, by the fans. I'm proud of this community that we've built. And the fact that you guys can come in here and make fun of Gabe and yell at him and tell him how dumb he is and make fun of his hair. The poor guy wears a hat now because you guys made fun of his hair so much. I'm glad that we have created a place that you guys can bully a young Gabe. I appreciate that. So thank you for the super chat. Let's hear more from Josh Heupel about Missouri week.
I think it was last night on your call-in show that you, in talking about the senior class, you said you'd learned a lot from them. What are some of the things that you've taken from this group, having worked with them over the last couple of years?
Like at the beginning of the week, you guys kind of questioned this group. How would they respond to it? You just look at all of, the obstacles, the hurdles that this group has gone through. It tells you about their resiliency, their ability to grow and focus, to take correction, the DNA of who each of them are and how they've responded to anything that's been thrown at them, and however long it's been now, 20 months or whatever that I've been here, and the ability to see them grow. There's so much that is inside of our building because of who these guys are, and it's a class that I'll remember forever, but a group of guys that accepted me, accepted our staff, and allowed us to get off and running really quickly.
I'll ask you a question that we talked about Wednesday. Let me hit this. AGR 270 for 2. Thank you for super chat. Proud of them Vols, GBO. Yeah, you got to be proud of this football team, man. Proud of this football team. 11-1. What a special year we are looking at. And we probably should stop saying that. They got to go take care of business. It is what it is. But I just expect them to dominate. But I'll ask you the same question that we talked about on the Wednesday show. This senior class, like Josh Heupel just said, they've been through some stuff, man. And a lot of them, they could have transferred out. They could have gone elsewhere when the stuff went down with Jeremy Pruitt, the investigation. Is there a senior on this football team that really sticks out to you that you'll kind of look back on and kind of hold a special place in your heart for on this football team? And you can't take the ones that we already took. Latrell Bumpus, Jeremy Banks, and Cedric Tillman were the 3 that we took. You can take one if you want, but it'd be better if you come up with a different one. You're probably going to say, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to take Princeton Fant. He's been here for a long time. He's been a guy that he's been the type of guy that it never seems like he can get going. Like he's whether it's last year, just not getting used a whole lot. He stuck around, and you've gotten to see what he's been able to do this year. I mean, he's not. I don't know if he's going to get drafted. But dude has made a case for being drafted as a fullback in the NFL. He has made himself some money this year. He's a freak athlete. He's crazy strong. He's fast. He's the type of guy that NFL teams want. And I don't think he was even necessarily on the map at the beginning of the season. And he's made some mistakes. He's had a couple drops. He's had a fumble or two. But he has done some. I mean, he's turned into one of the most dynamic playmakers on the offense because of his versatility. I mean, he threw a freaking bomb to Jalen Hyatt right on the money for a touchdown. You know what I mean? This guy's crazy. So he's stuck around. He's bought into what this coaching staff, and it took until his very, very last season for him to really start making an impact. But he is. And he's turned into one of my favorite players. I can't even necessarily say he was on my map at the beginning of the season, but he's turned into one of my favorite players and a guy that stuck around, believed in this football program. He's a leader on the team. He believes in what the staff is doing, and he's been a difference maker. So I love Fant. I would take Princeton Fant as a guy that sticks out. I'm going to remember him for a while. hopefully he won't just have to be in my mind. Hopefully we'll get to watch him play on Sundays. There's still quite a few teams in the NFL that are using a fullback, and more teams now. The run is kind of coming back in the NFL. But yeah, I'll take Princeton Fant because, man, I love him. He's a great guy. He's going to be he's going to be an impact player on Sundays.
Jamie Roberts for 10. Thank you for Super Chat. 11-1. Think about that possibility from a team that was 3-7 just 2 years ago. Piss on the haters. If we don't have haters, we aren't doing something right. Agreed, Jamie. Agree. I mean, gosh, I know we keep saying it over and over and over, but look where this team came from. And if somebody's not content with 11-1, if they're not happy with 11, and you know, when me and Eric were talking about it yesterday, recording the Locked On Vols episode that aired this morning, and it's like, it sounds so much like a moral victory, but it's not a moral victory. I'm not sitting here saying, well, I'm glad we kept it close against Georgia. I'm glad it was a two score game. I don't freaking care. I don't care if they lost by 2 scores, 1 score, or 142 points. I did not want to lose that game. But you don't flush the entire season down the toilet over one football game. You have to be proud of where this football team is at in just 2 years under Josh Heupel. Let's hear a little bit more. Got a couple of minutes left on the press conference. We'll get some final thoughts on Tennessee, Missouri after we get through this.
In the back here, what's Jabari Small's status after injuring his hand on last Saturday?
Jabari's been with us all week, and he'll be ready to go.
Business.
Yeah.
Where's Dylan Sampson in his development to try to get back on the field? I know he was in there late a little bit last week, but I'm sure having a third back option during the game would help.
Yes, you know, sometimes just how the game unfolds dictates whether or not a younger guy gets in, and we got great trust and confidence in him. And as a young player, I do believe he gets better every single week, and all the things that it takes to play that position at a really high level. He's in the ball game. We're not going to do anything differently. Not going to call it differently. We've got great trust in him.
In particular with the offensive line, you know, that group's been so good for most of the season and had some of those penalties last week and let a couple of blitzes get through. What kind of response have you seen from those guys this week in terms of their desire to sort of wipe that one away and move on?
Talking about our offensive line there, you know, they've been really good in the meeting space and in the building at practice. They're a proud group. Obviously, we didn't play our best football last week. I think they're ready to respond in a really positive way, you know.
So, something I love about what Josh, the way Josh answers questions about his players is he's always going to stick up for his players.
Yep.
He's never going to sit there and say this player did something wrong, this player did something wrong. He's going to say we as a team, we didn't play our best, but but these kids are working hard. They're ready to respond. I love that, man. I love that he's not going to stand there and throw kids under the bus, and he's going to stand behind these guys and encourage them. You know, he's not going to, you know, try and toughen their skin and scream at it. He's going to sit there and he's going to encourage them, stand behind them, and let them improve themselves. So,
well, and it's kind of the same song and dance about saying don't flush the season down the toilet because of one loss. It's the same thing with the offensive line. I mean, you're talking about an offensive line that's played really good football all year long, and yeah, they struggled against the best defense in the country. Ride it up for what it is and move on and get ready for the next one because, you know, the player development on that offensive line is what's been impressive. And we talked about that leading into the season. You're returning 4 starters, and we've seen that offensive line take a big step. And that's encouraging when it comes to Glenn Ellerbe and what he can do as a coach. We got 250 people watching live. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, make sure you guys smash it. We would appreciate it. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We still got those business shirts, the Tennessee Alabama scoreboard shirt. Check those out. Vols by 50. That's still a thing around here. I don't care what people say. But any and all support, greatly appreciated. Again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The link to that is in the description below, as well as the link to Spire Sports Group for you to get involved in the NIL game. Also, as always, thank you to all the members of the channel. You guys keep the lights on around here. You got those symbols beside your name. I try to highlight your comments during live streams. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows, all kinds of fun stuff. If you don't have a Power T beside your name, what are you doing? What are you doing? You must be a Georgia fan if you don't have. Look, even Alan V Troll Patrol, he is a Georgia fan, but he has a Power T beside his name because that's how much he loves this channel. So if Alan V, a Georgia fan, can be a member of this channel, so can you. Hit that join button down below. We would appreciate it. I set a goal going into the season of number of members that I wanted to hit. Getting close, man. Getting close, but still so close yet so far away. We need to pick up some more. So any and all support you guys can leave by becoming a member, we would appreciate it. All right, let's wrap things up here with this Tennessee-Missouri game coming up on Saturday. Tennessee big-time huge favorites, almost 3 touchdowns, 20.5 is the spread right now. ESPN FPI 92.8% chance for Tennessee to win. Over-under set at 56.5. Did you tweet this out? Yeah, you tweeted it out. Because I've been talking about it too, and I said it on Locked On Vols. Tennessee's going to beat the over-under. They're hanging 60 on Missouri. Get ready for it. I'm calling it. They're going to come out and dominate. What are you expecting on Saturday in this game?
Well, I don't think this coaching staff is going to design a game plan around the fact that Tennessee needs some style points the rest of the way. They're not going to take their foot off the gas if they get up 4 touchdowns by the first half or by the halftime, or 5 touchdowns or 6. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. Even if they have the backups in by the fourth quarter, they're going to continue running their offense, continue running it up. So I expect, again, people argue the Missouri defense. I don't care. It's going to be a blowout. It just is. Missouri is not going to be able to score points. They're going to be able to, they'll probably put a couple scores on the board at some point. But I expect a dominant performance. I know there's supposed to be a little rain tomorrow. That might throw a little wrench into the game, something interesting. See how Tennessee handles that. See how Missouri handles that. That might, I don't know if that'll affect the points very much. It might affect the ability to throw. I'm not actually sure when the rain is supposed to happen, if it's supposed to happen during the game or afterwards or early in the morning. I'm not sure, but depending on when that happens, it might have a little bit of an impact. But Missouri just doesn't have obviously they don't have the weapons to keep up. It would take an all-time defensive performance and a all-time horrendous performance by Tennessee's offense to even come close for Tennessee to lose that game. Especially since the wake-up call this past Saturday, they're going to come ready to play. Missouri. I said it after the Georgia game. I said, I almost feel bad for Missouri now because they are going to get this Tennessee team that has been backed into a corner and is angry and is locked in and has other things on their mind. Missouri is just in the way at this point. So I understand their defense is somewhat strong, but I really don't think it's going to matter. I think Tennessee's going to find a way to exploit it and run up the score. So
go ahead and give us a score prediction.
Okay, awesome. I think over/under is 57. I don't know if Tennessee will cover that themselves, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Tennessee wins this game 58-14 handily. I think it's probably like 35 or 42-7 at half. And then I think either Hendon goes in for one possession in the second half and scores, and then the backups come in and score once or twice. 58-14 is my prediction.
I like it, man. I think Tennessee rolls too. Everything you said, man, I think they're going to be showing up full of piss and vinegar. They're going to have something to prove tomorrow afternoon in Neyland Stadium. Plus, it's senior day. Man, you're not going to come out and play flat for those seniors. They're going to be fired up, ready to go.
Fan base is going to be ready.
I think the fan base needs freaking football. I think that is the cure for getting this fan base back on track is seeing some football played on Saturday. So looking forward to it. Again, just a reminder of things coming up. We'll be live an hour before kickoff. All the members of the channel have an opportunity to come on for the tailgate show at 11 a.m. Get your coffee ready. It ain't going to be Coors Light. It's going to be coffee for the tailgate show tomorrow. But that'll be a lot of fun. Then we'll be live immediately following the game. Don't forget Saturday, immediately after the basketball game, myself and at least the X Factor. I don't know if Dauber's going to be back in town in time for that or not. I think he said he might be. Regardless, we'll be going live immediately after the basketball game. Then I'll take a break. I'll just plan on it. I'll plan on taking a break, coming right back, and we'll live stream some NCAA Sunday night as well. Monday morning show should be back to business as usual this week. Tons of content, man, as we wrap up. It's hard to believe we only got 3 games, 3 regular season games left. It comes and goes so quick every year. I hate it. Favorite time of the year, but it's the shortest time of the year. All right, but that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Don't forget to go check out the Spire Sports Group stuff. Check out the merchandise. Smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. That's going to do it for this one. He's Gabe. My name's Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.